We passed a series of reforms as well in order to accelerate this green strategy, especially in CO2 emissions and reducing the CO2 emissions. That means we will close all our coal-fired power stations by 2021 during this mandate. It means we will launch additional research and development programs to step up the fight. And we've already attracted a lot of startups, projects, and research projects thanks to the Make Our Planet Great Again program with, hundreds of projects now arriving in France. The fifth pillar of this domestic strategy, and that's the last one, I can reassure you, I would say is about cultural change. And for me, it's probably as important as concrete reforms and laws and decrees and so on. And this cultural change is, first of all, now a preference for red tape cuts and simplification. France had a strong preference for regulation, laws, and taxes. Why? Because we love politics. And I think if we are fair during the past decades, we managed to better monitor than some other economies inequalities and these kind of issues. But we corrected these inequalities by taxes and regulations. We didn't prevent these inequalities. We corrected them by a lot of complexity. And these corrections basically definitely weakened our competitiveness and our growth. The big change is that we will have a strategy to prevent, and I will revert on it, these inequalities. But in the same time, we simplify, we streamline processes, and we definitely simplify bureaucracy. We took a series of very concrete measures in order to fuel this change of mindset. And the effect is that during the last 6 months, we reduced like crazy the number of new regulations, and we reduce the number of bureaucratic approach, and we are passing a law to totally change the relationship between administration and entrepreneurs and people. The second cultural change is about visibility. We have to guarantee stability for people, entrepreneurs, citizens, investors. All the reforms I mentioned about taxes and simplification, we passed them. And we voted a 5-year strategy in terms of taxes. That's brand new. Because, it's too easy to come and to say to you, I've changed this year my taxes, and the year after to totally change the rules, because unpredictability is absolutely counterproductive. So visibility is part of this cultural change. That's for the 5 years to come. That's a strategy, and it will not change. That's my personal commitment and the commitment of the whole government. And the third very important point in terms of cultural change is about risk. I often say in France it was forbidden to fail and forbidden to succeed. As you can see, it reduces basically your way to maneuver. Now, it should be more easy to fail, to take risk. So to reduce the cost of failure, to allow people when they fail, to come back and to try something else, and to facilitate successes, and to be granted for these successes. And for me, it's all about the relationship about risk. When you take risk, you need reward. And basically, you have to reduce this cost of failure. That's a big change if you want to succeed in the current environment. And that's the change we are making in France. And because France is a nation of entrepreneurs, is a nation of people loving this kind of risks. And I think it was a big mistake, and a big mistake when you look at our history regarding that. So, ladies and gentlemen, my first message is that France is back. France is back at the core of Europe. Because we will never have any French success without a European success. And for me, all these initiatives and this reform have an actual counterpart, which is a European strategy. And I see a lot of European leaders and my very good friends, and all together we work very hard to have this common strategy. I will not revert on it, and I know that Angela Merkel expressed a few hours ago her vision, and we work very closely in that direction. But in a nutshell, I just want you to believe that the core strategy for me, for the coming years, and especially for this year, is to manage to deliver an actual refundation of our Europe. We have to fix some short-term issues on energy, digital, migrations, and investment. This is a 2018 program. But this year will be the year where we have to redesign a 10-year strategy for Europe. It's sure, because in this current environment, Europe has a responsibility and a role to play vis-à-vis China and the US. Because our vision, our DNA, in terms of relationship between freedom, justice, fairness, individual rights, is unique. You just have this kind of balance between these different values in Europe. You have a strong preference for freedom in the US. The approach of fairness is very different. You don't have the same approach of freedom in China. It's not a big discovery. So this synthesis, which is the core of our globalization and our multilateral approach, was made in Europe. And if we want to avoid this fragmentation of Europe, we need, of the world, sorry, we need a stronger Europe. It's absolutely key.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.